Grand Rising Soul Tribe. There's something I need to share with you. Should I say? There is a parable that I just talked about that I would like to expound on a bit more. I called it the hyper love parable, right? Just posted the video the other day. Called it the hyper love parable. So, the word hyper, what does it literally define as? Because let's never forget, I always and only go off of what the words literally mean. I'm not about to use a tool without instructions on how to use the tool. You follow what I'm saying? So, hyper love. I want to tell you all the moral of the story here in spirit. What's ultimately going down? What I've been saying now for the past 1.5 years, or since since 2023, since I have been posting, even when I started on TikTok. The ultimate and/or true final battle in spirit is of the spirit of Yeshua versus the spirit of Yahweh. Or maybe not necessarily say in spirit. Well, it is in spirit, of course. But the thing is, it's on, or should I say, however, no more buts. However, it's just on the soul's grounds. The soul's grounds, or the soul foundation. The battle over the soul's grounds right now. Label to fully label and describe it, or give the moral of the story, is the spirit of Yeshua versus the spirit of Yahweh. The spirit of Yeshua versus the spirit of Yahweh. The characteristics and/or spirit of Yeshua are of perfect balance and unconditional love, or hyper love. The word hyper meaning above and beyond. That's the literal meaning of the word hyper. Before I skirted past it and forgot to mention it. Above and beyond, or at least that's what it is in its Latin origin. Above and beyond, just more than the usual. It's also the Latin origin for the word is called hooper, H-U-P-E-R, hooper. Yeah, like basketball. Maybe that's where the origination of the basketball term hooper comes from. Maybe, who knows? Just a random thought to throw out there. But the ultimate moral of the story is the spirit of Yeshua and its perfect balance and unconditional love versus the spirit of Yahweh. The spirit of Yahweh and her evil wickedries. That's the moral of the story there. Now, when it comes to the spirit of Yeshua, more thoughts I want to share with you on this. When it comes to the spirit of Yeshua, who and or what it is literally built in our DNA to be like the King of all kings. It is literally built in our DNA. Meaning, we should follow more the faith of Christ versus the commandments of God. We should follow more so closely to the faith of Christ versus the commandments of God. For the commandments of God, in reality, or actuality, are the commandments of the devil. And in actuality, the faith of Yeshua is our government. Problem is, right now, currently, the devil got a hand or a heads up on us in a way and caused a third of the world to be wiped clean from it, which left only a handful of people left on the planet to be raised by 144,000 so-called white folks during the time. 12,000 seal people plucked from each tribe and gathered together, congregated, ecclesiastes. And then in the time frame, they were all tortured for about 5 months to be our oppressive parents, so to speak. Tortured for about 5 months. They were begging for death. Death fled from them. And they were beaten into becoming our next oppressors. Once they were successfully beaten into becoming our oppressors, they became our oppressors. And since those times, those days, what am I speaking of? The story in Revelation, decolonized, of course. Since those days, those 144,000 white folks, or those 144,000 SEAL people, raised the remaining black people on the planet, or remaining melanated people on the planet at the time, after the mother of harlots swept us all away. Because in reality, the mother of harlots is Yahweh. In reality, the mother of harlots is Yahuwah. In reality, the mother of harlots is the spirit of Isis, is the spirit of Ma'at, is the spirit of Shatu and Shiva. Notice Shiva's story. Notice Shiva's information. Shiva says that, or Shiva's information has him listed as a destroyer and a rebuilder in the same category. So that means destruction, problem, restoration, solution. Or should I say, in Shiva's terms, since I am talking about the spirit of Lord Shiva, destruction, real problem, Shiva's rebirth, fake solution. The devil, in every way possible, is a real problem and a fake solution. The spirit of Yahweh is a fake problem, or is a real problem and a fake solution. The spirit of Yahuwah is a real problem and a fake solution. The spirit of Yahweh is a real problem and a fake solution. In this entrenchment, Yahweh's entrenchment, this is what we are up against, truly. By beating this, we beat this by tapping into Yeshua's entrenchment, or to the spirit of Yeshua's entrenchment. And just to be more precise or more clear on who the spirit of Yeshua is, it is who can be labeled and described as Vishnu, or the entity known as Vishnu. That's the spirit of Yeshua. And what is Vishnu in actuality? What can be labeled and described as the strong nuclear force. Why do I say that? Vishnu, his name means all pervasive. And what he is, or what his characteristics label and describe, is the God of preservation. The God of preservation. Is the strong nuclear force, according to its scientific information, is the strong nuclear force all pervasive? No, it's not. The strong nuclear force is not omnipresent as Lord Vishnu is. So it would seem as if the information is a bit off in regards to what I'm telling you. Because yeah, just like the strong nuclear force, the spirit of Yeshua is the preserver of the reality that we are in. Is the preserver of the universe, just like the strong nuclear force is the preserver of the universe. That's what the spirit of Yeshua is in real life. So, but the name Vishnu, which is the spirit of Yeshua, the name Vishnu means all pervasive. And the word pervasive simply means what is omnipresent, all over the place, everywhere. The strong nuclear force is not everywhere. So how could the strong nuclear force in reality be Vishnu? Think of this for a moment. The strong nuclear force that I just told you about is one of 4 of the fundamental forces of reality, or the 4 fundamental forces of nature, you see. The strong nuclear force is one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature. The other 2, or the other 3, would be the gravitational force, the electromagnetic force, and the weak nuclear force. The gravitational force is omnipresent. The electromagnetic force is also too or just infinite in a sense. And then you have the weak nuclear force. This here is the reality in which the strong nuclear force preserves. You follow me? Or the universe in which the strong nuclear force preserves. They're all four of them are together in one thing. It's one thing. The nature and/or the spiritual essence of the King of all kings. All four of those things I'm mentioning. All of this information that I have been mentioning is simply just the spiritual essence, power, and/or nature of the King of all kings. The spirit of Yeshua. The spirit of Yeshua is our true government. Its actual literal spirit, or his actual literal spirit. John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And no one cometh unto the Father but by me. Do you know exactly who his Father really is? It's talking about the source of all life. Yeshua is talking about the source of all life. That's his Father. Not Yahweh. Yahweh is not Yeshua's dad. Yahweh ain't even a man. You don't have to believe this, though. You can believe whatever you want. As always, you can believe whatever you want. Moving forward. Yeshua, in reality, is the preserver of the universe. A strong nuclear force in spirit. But here's the thing. What was I getting at as far as the strong nuclear force? Due to it being a constituent of the other three, meaning the other three couldn't even be what they are if it wasn't for the strong nuclear force and what it does. Due to the strong nuclear force being a constituent of the other three gravitational force, of the other three fundamental forces of nature, that would also, too, in a sense, make it omnipresent and/or all-pervasive. Just like Vishnu also is. Being a connected piece of those other three aspects of our fundamental forces of reality or fundamental forces of nature give the strong nuclear force a way to be somewhat omnipresent. No, it is not omnipresent. From what I hear, it has a very short distance, or from what I learned or studied, didn't fully retain it just yet. But it has a short distance in what it does in its activity. But it's still, nonetheless, the preserver of the universe, as is the true spirit of Yahushua is, the preserver of the universe. So what's another thing I'm getting at with this then? Simple. Remember, these so-called white people, the descendants of the 144,000, these so-called white people, who are also the slave masters, because that's what the 144,000 were beaten into, slave masters. Evil, wicked people that cannot, nor do not, nor will not know any better, unless something drastic makes them know better. Revelation, in other words. A surprising fact, especially one not previously known and made it known in a dramatic way. So, due to their slave artwork, due to them punishing our minds with all of the lies and things of that nature, we know not of the preserving nature in which the spirit of the Yeshua truly is. The preserving nature, preserve, to keep something together, maintained, to keep a certain standard maintained. And the standard is a level of quality or attainment. So that means if you remove the quality, it just says a level of attainment. Attainment. And attainment is something that has been achieved and or done. So that means a certain ground that has been set up, made up, created, done for you. Our spiritual and soulful grounds are of the spirit of Yeshua, are of us, encoded in our very DNA. But why is the final battle of spirit of Yeshua versus the spirit of Yahweh? Why is it the final battle? Because when you reawaken to who the spirit of Yeshua truly is, reincarnate the spirit of Yeshua, then resurrect to the spirit of Yeshua, prepare for the reestablishmentality of the spirit of Yeshua's ways. No one cometh unto the Father but by me. He was talking about the source of all life, that life force source. That life force source is the true government of all reality. And that life force source, once we resurrect once we resurrect as the King of Kings or his characteristics, once we resurrect as these, I want to say, a literal Christ body. Once we resurrect our literal melanated Christ body, this will put an end to Yahweh's entrenchment. Yahweh is the devil. Yeshua is God. Yahweh is the devil. Yeshua is God. Of course, you don't have to believe this, though. You can buy whatever you want. Believe whatever you want. It's your mind. It's your mind. It's your own understanding. It's your own understanding. It's yours. Did you know your entire understanding is that of Yeshua's as well? Did you know your understanding comes from Yeshua in the first place? Why do you think Yahweh tells you not to lean towards it? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. You can lean on Yeshua. Lean on him. Because when you lean not to your own understanding, you are leaning not to the ways of Yeshua. You want to know why? Because Yeshua is literally your inner understanding. Literally. The more you lean away from your knowledge and your brains and your natural intelligence capabilities, the more you lean away from the true Yahawashi of the universe. Use your mind. Use your understanding. It is yours, and it is also the freaking King of all kings. Use it. Utilize what was given unto you. Utilize what was endowed unto you. Use the nature of perfect balance on top of unconditional love. Use it. Perfect balance, conscious mind, unconditional love, subconscious mind. I wanted to put these words out here and make sure I do. So, the spirit of Yeshua is also a constituent of our souls. And our souls, all of them, everywhere they are as a collective unit on this planet, are the makeup of the true Most High God itself. Notice something. I came up with this Chakra Tree Murdy parable, right? The Chakra Tree Murdy parable, what does it consist of? The 9 chakra system broken into 3 parts. The Soul Star chakra being the Most High God's conscious mind, or the empire, where the Most High God distributes orders from. Then you have the crown chakra, which is the Most High God's subconscious mind, a subconscious mind above us. Then you have the Earth Star chakra, which is the Most High God's physical body, or somatic body, or unconscious mind. Because remember, not even the planet will be conscious, or would it have any sort of abilities to produce grass and food for us if there was no God in it to do so. The planet is a life form. It just so happens to be the physical body of the true Most High God of the universe itself, or at least one of the infinite billions and trillions of them. And octillions and novillions and duodecillions and undecillions. Said that out of order. It's undecillion, dodecillion, tridecillion, quattrodecillion, and so on. Vigintillion. All of those stars and planets we have, those were all big numbers, by the way. The number septillion has 24 zeros after the 1. Then there's an octillion. Now let me say it like this. There's a septillion, octillion, novillion, and a decillion. Each of the big numbers. Think of it this way. When you count the number 1,000, how many zeros are after the 1 in the number 1,000? 3 of them, right? Okay. How many zeros are after the 1 in the number 1,000,000? 6 zeros, right? Notice how each of them goes up by 3. You start at 1,000, which is just a 3. But then once you stack on the second 3, which makes it 6 zeros after the 1, that's when you get to your first illion. And then after that, it just keeps stacking with threes, three zeros, three zeros, three zeros, all the way up to just a googolplex or higher. And a googolplex is 1 followed by a googol of zeros. And a googol of zeros is 100 of them. I have a small debate in my mind about a centillion being larger than a googolplex, but I mean, because a centillion has 303 zeros, but a googolplex has a googol after the 1. So 100 zeros, because a googol is just 100 zeros after the 1, but a centillion is 303 zeros after the 1. So it's like, it still ain't mathing up quite enough. But here, moving forward. So, there's a lot of planets, a lot of the Most High God's physical bodies out there. All of the planets are Most High God's physical body. Then the rest of the chakra tree Murdy parable, though. Look up the list of large numbers. Just look that up. See what it tells you. If you wanted to, you don't have to. I think it's interesting how they have months first, and then it sounds like Spanish numbers afterwards. But here, the second one is the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, and the heart chakra. The third eye chakra is the king of all kings, conscious mind, meaning the prince of all sapiens. The king of kings is the actual prince of all sapiens. The Most High God is the ruler of everything, meaning the life force itself. That's the Most High God, the life force itself. The king of all kings is the prince of the life force race. The king of all kings is the prince of all life force race. Why we have to be called a race? Why do we have to have a competition, some kind of competition branded to label and describe what we are? I don't like the term race. Let me just say I don't like it. I see a problem, right? Trying to stay out of my physical feelings as much as I possibly can here. I see a problem in the term race. I see a problem in it. We are not horses. Why are we racing? We are the soul being, the literal soul being. All of us together as one are the literal soul being. God itself in the flesh is what we are. Or should I say, to be more specific, we are the king of all kings in the flesh is what we are. The king of kings and the lord of lords, the god of gods is what we are in the flesh, nothing else. We are Yahweh Shai incarnate. We are Christ incarnate. We are not jealousy incarnate, because that's what Yahweh wants us to be, and which is why Yahweh teaches us not to lean to our own knowledge. Do not lean to your own understanding, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I tell you, do the opposite of that. Lean heavily to your own understanding and trust it. Trust your own understanding, not Yahweh's understanding. Trust your own soulful, instinctive, intuitive nature, not Yahweh's, because it's barbaric evil and it only wants you to fail at everything and suffer to death. Trust in the King of all kings, not the liar of all liars. Because Yahweh is the liar of all liars, and Yeshua is the truth of all truths. The final battle in spirit, or the final battle of the soul ground, for the soul grounds, because part 9 of my 9-dimensional base form parable is the final battle for the soul grounds. 9-dimensional base form parable. Gonna mention it real quick. The first 4 things of the story, the first 4 dimensional features of the story. What is a dimension? An aspect, a feature, or element of something, or a situation, or something to read, or something to measure, something to analyze, contemplate over. That's what a dimension is. A thing that could be read and or measured. Any kind of thing can be an entire realm. Look at what the word means. I go off what the words literally mean, and I use them for what they literally mean. The 9-dimensional base form parable. First 4 things. What you would label and describe as the positive human behavioral force, the negative human behavioral force, the balanced human behavioral force, or the equipoised human behavioral force, and the quiescent human behavioral force, meaning the nucleus or the space you are in, or the one that can become whatever you wish it to be. That's what the fourth one is. What art thou currently, though? Thou art on the wrong grounds currently. So that means your fourth one is of a dead disposition, when in reality it should be a positive and balanced disposition, or a perfectly balanced and unconditionally loving disposition, or an over and beyond disposition, over and beyond love disposition, because that's what the King of Kings is in its absolute totalic spiritual state. It is unconditional love beyond unconditional love. Moving forward. So, the first four things: positive human behavioral force, negative human behavioral force, balanced human behavioral force, and the quiescent and or dead human behavioral force. So, what are the first four things labeling and describing? The first four things are what you will label and describe as moral perfection. Remember, morals is another measurement word. And what does the word morals measure? The activity of human principle or human behavior. The right and wrongs of human behavior and or human characteristics. You can use whatever words you want. What is the word morals literally defined as? Awareness with the principles of right or wrong behavior, and the goodness or badness of human character, and the goodness or badness of human character. So both of them. And what is the word character defined as? The mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. What is the word principle defined as? With an LE, not an AL. It defines as the fundamental truth or proposition, which serves as the foundation for a system of belief, behavior, or for a chain of reasoning. You follow what I'm saying? So like I said, morals is a measurement word, and it gives you the measurements of the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual, or the fundamental truth or proposition, which serves as that person's underlying basis, foundation, for their belief, behaviors, or for their chains of reasoning. Morals, knowing what morals are, gives you a chance to see those specific things. And from where I have gathered my information, or from what I've been seeing in my observation of the world and all the things I've studied to label and describe how the life force is our true government and not the devil, I've noticed that there are four fundamental principles or four fundamental base human behaviorals that display themselves in the world today. Technically, there are only two. And those two just so happens to be the spirit of Yeshua and the spirit of Yahweh. The spirit of Yeshua encompasses all four of these four human fundamental behavioral properties, because the negative one, in its most subtle state, without all the craziness interrupting it and twisting it to be something else, it is of force, just forced. What kind of force? Any kind of force. I said force with a T, didn't mean to. Any kind of force. It can be a positive force, a negative force, a balanced force, or a dead one. Or that dead one could be the quiescent one in its original state, until we decide to do what we want to do with it, versus the devil deciding what we should do with it through us. The devil don't get to make any more decisions to and throughout all of humanity anymore. Only the King of Kings does. When this reincarnation works, and you resurrect from that behavioral pattern, or from those moral principles, because the reincarnation is just the resettling or the reaccepting of Yeshua's moral principles, fusing with Yeshua's moral principles in a sense. And once you fuse with the King of all Kings' moral principles, your behavior will be that of the King of Kings in your resurrected state. I'm just trying to get my body back, man. So, white Jesus is a lie. That ain't how Jesus looks. The more you all defend it, the more you are all obviously programmed. Why do you want to protect a lie? Stop being protectors of evil and be protectors of good. Lies are evil, truths are good. The more you try to protect the white Jesus lie, the more you are protecting evil. Stop protecting evil. That's what Yahweh wants you to do. Through the white people, she tells you to do it. The first four are the four fundamental forces of human behavior. The fifth part of the story out of 9. Yahweh, the mother of harlots, or Yahuwah, the mother of harlots. It ain't Lucifer, it ain't, nor is it Satan. Satan and Lucifer are not the devil. Satan and Lucifer are not the devil. Who are Satan and Lucifer then? 2 more incarnations. I was wrong myself about who Lucifer was, and that was like one of the first videos I posted on this channel when I was breaking down who Lilith, Adam, and Eve was. Even I was wrong about who Lucifer truly was. We're all wrong about a lot of things to a lot of degrees, but now we are starting to figure it out, aren't we? Yeah, I know, because I am. And I'm putting these videos online for you to see how I am figuring it all out. Meaning this, the actual me is figuring it out. The lower me just wants to go home and only desires home liberation. So it ain't really too much to talk to me about my lower nature. Right now, it's all about doing everything I can to reawaken you, reincarnate you, and resurrect you so you can reestablish the soul grounds. That's the main thing I'm on right now. Talk to you with my actual nature, my 9-dimensional resting nature as much as I possibly can so I can hurry up and get this process started. Yeah, the spiritual reawakening, sure. The entirety of the spiritual reawakening is pulling the 6th part out of the 7th part so that the 8th part can fuse with the 7th part and become the 9th part. More details. The 5th part is Yahweh. The 6th part is Yahweh's sword. And what does Yahweh's sword consist of? Because remember, this is a parable that labels and describes how an event of a story can coexist with the reality we are in currently. That makes sense. What does the sword consist of? The handle of the sword consists of all you melanated sellout Negroes on this planet. All of you. The blade of the sword, be that it's not actually long at all. The blade of the sword consists of every non-melanated man, woman, and child on this planet. Due to what their non-melanated parents have been teaching them to be. You are teaching your children to be the sword. Your children need to be stolen from you. You know, I just did the research. I found out, according to a count in 2023, the number could be different by now. There are 8.062 billion people on this planet. Remember, billion is 9 zeros. 1,000 is 3 zeros. Million is 6 zeros. And a billion is 9 zeros, 369. You see? So the first 3 zeros, 062, and then billion to let you know what the whole number is, the totalic number is. It's 8.062 billion people on this planet, according to the Google search. What's the world population count right now currently? 8.062 billion. That's what it is. Those first 3 zeros after the 8, but it's 9 zeros in total because it's a billion. 8.062 billion according to that search. What am I getting at? There are a lot less white people than I thought it was globally. I thought it was 2 billion because I just heard somebody say it was 9 billion. And I was going off of what a portion of God said, because I trust God more than anything. I was going off of what a portion of God said, but then I looked up what another portion of God had already put on the internet for me to see. 8.062 billion. Ain't no getting away from God. Moving forward. So, out of the 8 billion people on this planet, 7 billion of them just so happen to be melanated because we are the majority genetic on this planet. Why do I say we are the majority but genetic? Because that's how the oppressive government sees us. They tell us, if your skin tone is a full shade or 2 darker than theirs, you are their enemy, but you are my ally. Once again, if your skin tone is a full shade or 2 darker than theirs, they see you as an enemy, I see you as an ally. To my Indian family, I love you dearly. To the melanated people over in Asia, or the continent known as Asia, I love you dearly. To the melanated people, if there are any more of you left, on the continent known as Europe, I love you dearly, and I will never stop loving any of you ever. I know there's a lot of melanated people in Australia. I've seen it, even though you have blonde hair and blue eyes. I still see your magnificent melanated skin tones. You are a beautiful people. Countries or islands, like Solomon Island, for example. Did you know there's actually a country known as Melanesia in Australia, on the continent of Australia? It's a country literally known as Melanesia. Melanesia. Look it up. Yeah, our people reside there as well. We are the majority of this planet. We have just been led to believe, due to a white Jesus painting, that they are. We were told to believe they are our God. They are our divine moral characteristics, moral and mental and moral qualities. They told us our mental and moral qualities were that of a white guy named Jesus. That doesn't make any sense, and it's completely impossible, and it's an absolute total lie. It's a total and absolute barbaric, evil, blasphemous lie. The white Jesus picture is blasphemy. The white Jesus picture is pure blasphemy, and you all know it. You want to know why it's blasphemy? Because our image of Jesus, or should I say Yeshua, was sacredly held to look like he actually does. So for these things to change and alter and try to, as my good brother I just had a conversation with, make everything white deified due to the alterations, you have us thinking that the source of all moral authority is you. But how can you be any kind of moral authority when the only thing you can be is immoral? It's a lie. It all is. That needs to be destroyed. And they need to be stopped and prevented from being able to put more lies into our minds. But that's all y'all choice, though. Do whatever you want. I just say, if you knew what was best for you, you'd be fighting by any moral means necessary to remove the sword in which the devil has implanted in us right now. Take this, for example. What does her city consist of? Every melanated man, woman, and child on the planet is failing at everything and suffering to death. That's what Yahweh's city is. The mother of harlot's city is every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet. All 7 billion of them, which is the seventh part of this story. All 7 billion melanated people on this planet failing and everything and suffering to death is Babylon or New Jerusalem or the city in which Yahweh has built. And Yahweh keeps this city up and preserved, playing God on our lives. Yahweh keeps this city preserved by sticking a sword in us and keeping us in a position where we would only fail at everything and suffer to death. Here's the thing. We remove the sword, the entire city goes away. You want to know why? Because this entire city was built on the hatred, the hyper-hatred, the unconditional prejudice hatred of every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet. That's what this world, this city here was built on. So when the Christ Father is summoned in the Spirit, part 8 of the story, reawakening, spiritual reawakening, it's going to snatch what makes this city out of it. Meaning, I am going to pull you out of her. Because her consists of every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet failing in everything and suffering to death. Her consists of Yahweh, the ruler and/or the wrath of fornication. Pulling the sword out, meaning pulling the white people out of power, is pulling them out of her city. Her city only exists because we do, for her to make us suffer. No, remember, the only thing in which the devil does is attack us through these people because we exist to be attacked. We literally exist to be attacked. This is why the devil attacks us. What would the devil do if we weren't here? Just destroy all of air in reality and water and whatever else is around to destroy. And this is the government of our world currently. If you all knew what was best for you, you'd be trying to remove the white people from their so-called power by any moral means necessary. If you all knew what was good for you, you'd be trying to stop the oppressive body by any moral means necessary. You'd be trying to stop what causes the oppressive nature and or stop the oppressive nature, period. What's good is stopping them. What's better is destroying them. It would be good to stop them. It would be better to destroy them. It'd be good for us if we stopped them completely, and it'd be better for us if we destroyed them completely. But what makes them them? Hyper-hatred. And the abilities to play it out on something because it's in the way to be played out on. And we just so happen to be in the way for them to play on. Are they targeting us though? Or is it just some kind of random wild attack? No, it's a target. They're targeting us because of what we are connected to. Because remember, at the source of it all, that fifth part of the story is now also too going to be moving to the ninth part of the story, because finishing the eighth part of the story, the King of Kings reawakens. We reawaken, or during the spiritual reawakening, pull the sword out. Seventh part heals completely and reawakens. Part 2, reincarnation. Sheathe the sword. Force the white people to accept the King of Kings soul principle. And then spiritually uplift every melanated man, or pick every melanated man, woman, and child up off the ground. Spiritually fuse with them. Now they accept soul principle. And now here we are getting ready to step into the ninth part of the story. Because after the reawakening and the reincarnation, meaning the mental and moral qualities reestablished internally, now it's time for the resurrection and the reestablishment. The mental and moral qualities established externally. The unity and advancement part. The eighth part of this story are the first 4 parts of the story all in one. The eighth part of this story are the first 4 parts of the story all in one. Meaning the morally perfection vision, the morally perfected vision is what the eighth part of the story is. Remember what it's going to take to get out of this hell. That's the whole point of this parable, you see. It's the spirit of Yeshua versus the spirit of Yahweh. But what exactly is the spirit of Yeshua? The literal preserver of the universe itself. The preserver of the universe. Perfect balance and unconditional love in one. That's what the true King of all kings is. That's what the true spirit of Yeshua is. That's what the true spirit of Yeshua is. Next. So, now that we recognize this, we've reawakened to it and we have accepted it. The moral perfection in which we truly are naturally, in which we truly harbor inside of our DNA naturally. Moral perfection. Once we reawaken to moral perfection and accept moral perfection, we are now getting ready to resurrect our behavioral practices with moral perfection. Here's the thing though. The fifth part of the story. This is one thing I didn't mention. Before I go on. The eighth part of the story, when it enters, meaning when the 4 fundamental principles that are one, when we are reawakened to them, first thing that's going to happen, the fifth part of the story is going to get kicked off soul football punted 47 centillion yards away. I have to put in certain details. It's going to get punted 47 centillion soul yards away. The devil is, which is the fifth part of the story. And then the sixth part of the story will be ripped out of my body. It's my body. It's going to get ripped out of my body in 0.6 seconds with all 6 of my arms, my gangster Christ arms, my gangster Christ arms, my Christ gangster arms, all 6 of them. And then the next thing is going to happen, the seventh part. It's going to fully heal because our sword is being stabbed into our heart spaces right now and reawaken all at once. That's the reawakening. That's the spiritual reawakening. That's the real spiritual reawakening right there. For starters, the devil is still attached to you all. The white people are still bored into the melanated people worldwide, and the melanated people are still asleep. Not all 100%, not all 7 billion melanated people are spiritually reawakened right now. Not at all. So I'm just going to keep on hitting you with all 4 things that need to be done at the same time at all times. No matter how long it takes per video, I'm just going to keep saying them to you until you do it. When? So we can go home. Home liberation. Those first 4 things become the 1/8 thing. Then the 8th thing kicks the 5th thing 47 centillion soul yards away, pulls the 6th thing out. 7th thing heals immediately and reawakens. Reincarnation time, because that was a spiritual reawakening. Sheathe the sword. Sheathe the 6th part. Meaning put the melanated sellouts and these so-called white people, these hypergenetically modified white people, on forced different grounds. My vengeance upon you all will be to see you obligated to do better for all the days of your lives. All of you. Even you so-called black folks. All of you. This isn't hatred. I just want to go home. Next. After the resurrection, or during the resurrection, now we have come back to our divine senses, so we are ready to stand again. However, the 5th part of the story that we kicked away is now returning to equate to the 9th part of the story. So would you consider an 8-dimensional base form? Because it's technically like we're coming back to 8 senses. But the 9th part of the story, we got 9 senses. We have 9-dimensional base senses. It's a 9-dimensional base form parable. So here we are, coming back to our 9 senses, and we now see the 5th part of the story returning to us to stuff us back into the dead disposition, which it wanted to stuff us back into. And technically it still has control over the grounds or the soul grounds, even in the final part of the story, because here's the reality. It ain't been subjugated yet. We just woke up. We just resurrected. We just coming back to fight. So subjugate the devil by any moral means necessary, because it's going to be easy. Use the sword, cut it in billions of pieces, whatever it's going to take. Do unto it what it has done unto we. In reverse if you want to. Doesn't matter. Genesis 50:20. Take everything that the enemy meant for evil and turn it for good, right? Finally, we subjugate the devil by transforming into our omnipresent, infinite dimensional thinking mind and fight until we don't have to fight anymore. Peace, love, unity, and advancement for all the days of our lives. The final battle in spirit. Yeshua versus Yahweh. How do we win? Become aware of who Yeshua is and Yahweh. Become aware of who the true Yeshua and the true Yahweh is. Because we need to have awareness of how we work and awareness of how the enemy works. Accept how we truly work and accept how the enemy truly works. Accept who the enemy truly is. Accept who the enemy truly is. For crying out loud, our children are depending on us. Then reawaken to who, or resurrect to who you truly are. Resurrect to who you truly are. Meaning your behavioral practices, put them in the world. Put your natural divine behavioral practices in the world. Shine your light. We don't need this evil demon, fake woman. She's not even a real woman. We ain't got no time for her. That Kevin Gates song. It's another reason why I posted it. Symbolism for break up with her city. Break up with her. Our women are better than the devil. The 9th part of the story, subjugated, reestablish the soul grounds, reestablish God's kingdom worldwide, reestablish God's kingdom worldwide. That's what it ultimately is. Shalom, shalom, shalom. All I want is my God, my normality, my wife, and my farm. I don't want my fake wife. I want the real wife. So she can help me establish my global farm chain worldwide. May the King of Kings' perfect balance and unconditional love be reawakened to you all, accepted to you all, and resurrected to and throughout you all, so that it may conquer the grounds of the soul field thereof, and give us our home liberation. For home liberation is the preservation of home. Home is the subject. Home is the 7 billion melanated people worldwide, all standing on soul principle at the exact same time. And home liberation is us defending these grounds with all that we have to do so properly. We could win this war without losing a single one if we tried. But I'll leave that up to you all. My dear family, may these words teach you something. May these words help you in some kind of way, shape, form, or imagination. And as always, peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.